Hello, everyone. This is Ross from Retro Dream Beam. I'm an eBay seller full time. I've been doing this with my fiance Netta for more than 3 years now. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. We just had a pretty good weekend, so I'm about to jump right into it. So I feel like our eBay is kind of out of control at this point in a good way, where I'm just kind of like listening to things, a bunch of stuff sells. It takes a bunch of time to pack it all up and then move on to the next day. So I just wanted to mention that's how I'm feeling right now. But it's good like when there's good sales. It's still been kind of like iffy from like some days there will be like really low sales, but this weekend was like a pretty good classic one. Watch out, Mindy. They're getting in everyone's view. All right, first up is going to be these skirmish archers right here, medieval 15mm miniatures. These are painted and then they also were based with like flocking. I got these at auction a bit ago. I think I spent $32 on the whole box. Got like 100 or so figures. I labeled them by like their type or whatever. So if they had like halberds or the bowmen, so these are archers. These end up going for $11 plus shipping. Everything's going to be plus shipping. All right, next up is going to be this HeroClix map. This is Haha Hacindia right here. This is going to be a DC map. HeroClix is going to be this game that you play on these maps right here. It's almost like a bigger chess game where there's little squares, or it's like a gridded square system. Different terrain like this right here will have like a green outline, so that's hindering, so it helps like stealth characters or characters who are getting shot at from range to give them defense. But yeah, a lot of these maps are just going to be different maps from, actually I'm not going to fold it all the way out. They're usually pretty big. I think they're like 32 by 20 something squares, so they're pretty big. This is basically the board for that game. This ended up selling for $9.59. I kind of run across HeroClix maps often. They don't sell too fast or too quick, but I know people do eventually want to pick the specific ones. Maybe they're doing a themed Halloween night because that's going to be like Joker, DC, or something like that, and they want like the specific map. There's a bunch of different maps, and then some are more rare than others. Sometimes you get them as promotional items going to like comic book stores just to play. Other times they'll come in like starter sets or fast forces. It really depends. All right, next up is going to be this laser tag adventure book number 2, Danger Secondhand. This is a choose your own adventure book. We got a bunch of these a bit ago. Been still going through them. They're still selling kind of like every few days or maybe 1 or 2 a week. This ended up going for $9. We still have about like 100 to go through, and then I wanted to keep a bunch and we wanted to like read some of them. All right. Next up is going to be this DVD right here. Is this the DVD? No, sorry. This is a comic. This was a very bad purchase. This was actually when I'm not going to give Annetta the bad credit for this. I got a bunch of comic books a long time ago. Here you go. It's Pete the Pod Postal Worker right here. I got a bunch of these comics for like $1 to $2. Spent probably like $200 at like a thrift store. I thought they were going to be really good. I just kind of wanted to jump into comics, and these were like ones I hadn't seen before, so I thought maybe they might be worth a little bit more. I did get $12.95 for this, but yeah, there's still a bunch of those that still are just sitting, haven't sold for a while. I don't even know how many I've sold of the comics there, but I don't think it was like, maybe we made a little bit of money, maybe it broke even, but not worth it because I got those like 4 years ago. All right, moving along, we have this Matchbox car right here. This is going to be a Road King. What's this one called right here? Oh, hauling dumpster truck right here. So yeah, it actually has like this little movable piece. Get a bunch of die-cast cars. I don't know too much about cars, but I know a lot about like miniatures, and people like this kind of collectible stuff. So this ended up going for $8, which is pretty good for one car. Sometimes I'll lot them up. You'll see later on that I did like a lot of die-cast cars. Next up is going to be a Doctor Who book, the new Doctor Who Adventures, Emperor Gareth Roberts right here. Haven't read this one. It's a pretty clean, like sci-fi book, like clean as in like it's a clean book in general. This is like, we get a bunch of books pretty cheap. This ended up going for $8.10. People really like Doctor Who. I wasn't really a fan of Doctor Who, and then Annetta watched some like a year or two ago, and I warmed up more to the idea of the show. I saw it more as like campy now, or before. I'm not really like a fan of time travel when I'm watching movies or TV shows or playing video games. I feel like in my mind, time travel kind of makes story irrelevant, or the aesthetics of something irrelevant, because like anything can happen and then it could just be reversed with time travel. So that's kind of my like thought process of that. So like a character who's meant to go through time and stuff like that to solve different things, I didn't like the premise, but I have warmed up on it. I understand why people like it. All right, next up is going to be 3 sheets for Columbia Games. I got a bunch of these like war games stuff, like parts and rule books and sheets. So it looks like they're little sheets that show like the stats for the 3 different factions here. We have the Axis, Allies, and Soviets right here. Which game is this one for? I don't know. I think it just had the brand Columbia Games right here. So yeah, people are going to want these reference charts or these rule books if these get damaged. A lot of these old games, they're like I said, this one's from 2015, but other ones I've sold, the sheets will get like, water damage or coffee damage or rips and tears, and people didn't really take care of their stuff like they kind of do now. This ended up going for $10 for just those 3 sheets. All right, this next item was my very, like, one of my, I think this was my first Goodwill trip ever when we were doing Goodwill. And then I did a bunch. Then I got this. This was not a good buy. This is a Palace stove grill. We were almost going to end up just keeping this ourselves. I end up paying $5 for this back at the day. And then I just saw none on eBay, so I thought I could list it for higher. I saw like the foreign symbols down here, and I just thought it looked cool and that someone would appreciate it. I was watching a bunch of people when I was a newbie, and they were selling a bunch of home goods stuff, cooking stuff, and I was just doing what other people were doing at the time until I found out what I am actually like aware of and started selling that stuff. So it was a huge transition. So this is kind of like a good historical starting point. I did have to lower the price on this a bunch. Normally, I don't lower the price on our items. We'll do offers and discounts and sales like that, but generally, I don't go in and then like waste time to lower price on items because it takes a bunch of time to do that. I'd rather list some new stuff. But yeah, this one, every time I kept seeing it, this is took a lot of space in the storage unit. Every time I took that bin, this was pretty heavy. It's like 5-6 pounds or something like that. So yeah, only got $12 for this. Probably spent $5. We do get free boxes, so the bigger size box. Normally those are more expensive. But yeah, that was a bad build. It's not a video game. That was a bad buy. It is like sealed and like new in there. It's like really nice stovetop like grill type of thing. But I'm not like a chef, so I don't know too much what that's for. All right, next up is going to be more in my realm. These are going to be 2 sheets for Roots, the board game right here. So token sheets. This is just when you open it up. These are how they are going to come. They come on these. You punch them out. So I have to be careful not to unpunch these. These are a lot of the items for the Vagabond. The other stuff were the little items and victory points for like the birds and then the cats and the woodland creatures. All right, that sold for $10.87, which is pretty good for just some parts for Roots. I don't know where the base game lies right now in price range. I got a couple recently. I just have to list them. All right, it's a really good like fantasy territory control game. Think like Risk, but you're actually using like good cutesy meeple arts, and everyone gets different rules when they're trying to take over the forest. So there's also a bunch of expansion character races you can get in different maps. So a lot of people like it. I actually don't like the game, but I know a lot of people like it. Next up is going to be this. Unfortunately, it's already folded in there, so I'm not going to unfold it out. It's going to be some from Star Trek. It's going to be, what was it called again? The FASA, like the role-playing game. It's going to be a space map, so it's just a bunch of black hexes where you can like denote where different ships are when you're playing the role-playing game. So yeah, it's just big open map. Just like I said, the black hexes, $22.39 for that one. People do like the Star Trek role-playing stuff. It sells slower and not for as much. That was good for that one. But normally I don't get that much for like the books, like the Starfleet books and stuff like that. All right, next up is It's a Wonderful Life DVD right here. Have a bunch of physical media. Haven't listed any in a long time, but whenever we would get this stuff back when we started in eBay or even like the middle of our time frame, I got it all listed. This end I'm going for $7.99 right there. It's kind of like a remaster version, but it's still like black and white. Moving along, we have this ERTL right here. It's going to be like one of these tractors with a little hitch right here and then like the backdrop thing right here. Pretty good quality. These are like metal ones. I can't remember where we got these. I do remember we got these from like a person, and it was like a bunch of them. Sold a lot of them. That was before we were recording. These ended up going for $10.23. Pretty good, like I said, for the individual die-cast cars. Moving along, this is Rick and Morty. It's going to be Mr. Meeseeks or Meeseeks. It's been a long time since I've seen this episode. I only watched the Rick and Morty stuff once. It was decent. It wasn't as hype as other people. I know a lot of other people liked it. This is going to be the little board game. It's kind of like a party game. I've never played it. I've seen it before. It has this weird cube shape based off of it. Like I said, it's been too long since I've seen the episode, but I think he just like kept cloning himself or something like that. Someone sent me a message that it said that their dog chewed up this game. They've been looking for it for 5 years, and I'm selling. Hey, watch out! Watch out! Sorry, my cat's causing trouble. Hey, you can't do that. You can't do that. Oh, she almost knocked down the curtains. All right. I'm back. So yeah, the person said that their dog chewed this up. And my cat starts messing up our curtains when someone's dog messed up this game. Maybe it's cursed right here. This ended up selling for $13.60. Like I said, they told me that they were looking for it for 5 years, but I don't think I was the only one that listed it. I haven't checked it up. I was just, when I saw that message, I was like, oh, okay, that's super nice. Like, that's the reason why I like pick up games and sell them, even like the older ones that aren't super expensive, because someone's going to want it somewhere and they're going to want to play it or collect it. That could have just been a Rick and Morty fan, not even like a board game fan. I think, like I said, it's like a more of a party game, so way less rules, just for like the giggles and the laughs and like the environment. Next up is going to be some Mech Warrior. These are going to be 4 of these stickers, and then I think it's 2 of these rulers. These are the little rulers that you get in the game. You have to measure stuff by like inches like that. They always come in like the starter sets. You're supposed to, back in the day, when you would play like Mage Knight, these little miniature games, they would have a circle base on the bottom. You put the sticker, and then you put your initials to show that it's your character. So if someone across the table had the same figures as you, and you don't want to get them mixed up, you don't want to accidentally grab someone's miniatures at the end of the day, and then you don't. It's like, oops, I accidentally grabbed your 5 skeletons, even though I also had you also had 5 skeletons. That type of thing. So $5 for this. These are the things I get when I get like Mage Knight and Mech Warrior collections. I'm like, oh, someone's gonna want like the old school. This is very nostalgic. Like I look at this, I'm like, oh, I remember as a kid when I was labeling my little miniatures Mage Knights and using these janky rulers, so I don't have to go to my parents for a ruler. All right, next. I mean, it works. It's a ruler. It shows measurements. It's just like a weird bendy one. It's kind of nice for the game to like curl it up and then put it in your box at the Mage Knight. All right, I'm rambling a lot about that. Next up is going to be these rifles, Napoleonic miniatures. Got a bunch of them. There's like over 100 in here. I have the labeled double I because I listed all of them, and then I had to do little denotions of which bag was which. So when I went to them later, like today, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's the one that sold. A bunch of the rifles were damaged. I'm not sure if that's like how it's supposed to be. So I did mention that. It literally says like rifles damaged at the beginning of my title, but these ended up going for $12. All right. Oh, must be a little hole in the bag. I have to be careful with that one. All right. Next up is going to be Hot Wheels action pack set. This one has like a bunch that has like a blimp. It has like some kind of, is that a policeman? Yeah, a policeman and a robber, and then like a chopper. So this, I got this from the person where I got a bunch of police diecast cars and stuff. Some of them were actually sealed. So I remember kits like this when I was a kid. I had a lot of fun getting like the little kits, you know, because it was like a little scene on the bottom. So you get more than just like one little car. This is going international. This ended up going for $10. So interesting that that one's going international. But all right, next up, this one's super cool. Did I actually forget to grab it at the storage unit? I'll be really sad if I did. Oh, I thought I have had no mistakes today. Normally Monday is at least like 1 to 3 mistakes. Nothing yet so far. This is Soul Calibur 2. Oh, such a nostalgic game. This is so good. It's been a long time since I played it. I don't even like fighting games. This game is kind of like an anime, kind of fantasy style fighting game where you pick a character, fight someone else. Think like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Tekken, stuff like that. So this is just like the art book for it. But yeah, this game was pretty cool because I think part 2 was for different systems. So if you had the GameCube, you get to play Link. If you had, I think Xbox was Spawn, and I forgot what PlayStation was. I can't think of what PlayStation was. Maybe I'm mixing. Yeah, Xbox I think was Spawn. So yeah, this ended up going for $8.06. It had such an iconic intro, like the Soul Calibur 2 like intro was very iconic. A lot of people can probably hear that in their head. I'm not going to try to mimic it too much. It'll be too embarrassing, but people who've played the game, maybe someone who's watching, they'll know what I'm talking about. They'll go back into their head, into the nostalgia. Next up is going to be a lot of 3. They got all of these individual parts. Where did I put the third one? A lot of different parts here. They were like strategy and tactics magazines. So these are going to be, I'll look for the third one at some point. It's somewhere underneath all this stuff. So they got armies and division sheet right here. There's all these war game magazines that would also have these inserts where they have full-fledged games, sometimes updates to other games. This little sheet right here is the Renaissance of Infantry. So I believe these are both just like little extra rule books or rule sheets, or maybe erratas where they change the rules on the players. And then the third one, the third one, that's why I was having a hard time finding it. Someone actually put it on this board, so they boarded it up, which is super nice. It's going to be I think the Battle for France 1940 game from one of the magazines, but they turned it into a board. Normally these are like paper mats, They ended up turning it. It's still kind of like janky. I did take pictures. I mean, janky in quotations. This person did this, I think, from scratch right here. So yeah, you can see that they put it on this. So it has like this backing right here. It's like super taped up. It's still well done for someone just like, you know, making it happen and not really using official stuff. They just kind of in their mind's eye, they're like, oh, I have these boards, I have this tape, and I'm going to make it work. So $30 for the set of those three, which is pretty good. I had it in this baggie here just to make sure stuff doesn't get like dusty or, you know, wet when it's raining or something like that when it gets delivered. I just like to have it bagged up. Next up is going to be Battle Lords. Got a bunch of this. I don't know too much about this game. I got this before I got a bunch. This is a command deck, like a limited edition starter deck. I believe there might still be some randomized cards in it. It's going to be like a sci-fi game. I got a bunch of these a long time ago, way, way, way before we were recording, and way, way, way before I started respecting dead card games more and started selling them more. This ended up going for $13.43. I just happened, that was the last one I had. So this was like a replenishable I had at one point where I had like 40 and it was like really cheap. It was like $5 or something for 40. So I was like, yeah, okay, it's a dead card game. I'll give it a try. But I've completely changed my opinion on dead card games. So if I would see that again, I would snap pick it up. All right. But yeah, I don't know too much about that one because I didn't have like singles. I didn't have to like research all of the individual cards and individual sets. Next up is going to be a combo order. This is going to be, they are British infantry, light infantry, call to arms, 1812 right here. Got a bunch of these toy soldiers. These are 2 lots of 25 right here. I just did lots of 25. I figured that was a good number people would like. These end up going for $47.98. Like I said, when I first listed these toy soldiers, I was getting offers from all over the place. I was kind of taking the slightly higher or middle tier offers because I got a lot of low offers, even though they wanted to get a bunch, which would be a combo order. I was like, I just listed these. I want to see where they go. So yeah, I remember someone like listed, offered $8 on each of these, and I ended up getting $47.98. I almost took the $8 offer because they offered it on like, I think it was like 11 listings. So it would have been $88, which is a good amount of money for like just having listed them for the day. All right. People do like them. They're 1 out of 32 scale. So they're like 2 inches high. They're kind of like army men, soldiers, but different company. People paint these up. When I was looking up like the different names and stuff for them, I saw other people would do like their vlogs and then they would have them all painted. So people like them a lot. Next up is going to be this Styrofoam Mech Warrior Sci-Fi Custom terrain piece right here. Someone was going to throw out a huge bin of these. They ended up giving them to me for free. I was willing to pay like, I was like, they're like, I don't want them. I was like, I'll give you like $10 for them. And then they were like, you can just have them for free because they're going into the garbage. So like really well done. It is styrofoam. People are probably going to use this for like maybe Warhammer 40K. I don't know if the scale is correct. It could be a cool sci-fi RPG game. Some of these actually had lids. This one does not. So like you can actually put figures in this once they like open the door and get in there. Super cool stuff when people accessorize their like tabletop wargaming tabletop stuff. This one was also interesting because a long time ago when we first started recording, there was someone that was messaging in the eBay messages. I have like 12 or 14 different within the same series. Like I said, it was like a person throwing them away. So they made all these different, it was all the same person that made them, different sizes and stuff. And they wanted to buy them all. Ended up, I had to lock them all together, brought it back home here. And then the person ended up not responding after a while. So I was like, oh, it's okay. It sucks. I thought it was going to be like a combo order. I thought it was going to be our first like viewer sale. But that part didn't bother me. Stuff happens. I don't know if it was like the price shock or something, like adding it all together to be like, oh, here's the price. We also had on offers. But yeah, they ended up not responding. I still waited like a month or so to go through. And then after the month went, I just kind of like relisted everything with my old listings. The only problem with that was, because I assumed I was going to be selling them because I was in talks with someone and because they watched the channel, I had listed a bunch of other stuff into the bins where these were. So then I had to find a new like bin system. And that was the only annoying part. I didn't care that the person ended up like not wanting them overall, but like me jumping the gun, my bad. I should have known. This has happened before too, not just with this particular sale where someone messages, they want like a combo order. I make sure to now these days, I make sure that the sale goes through before I actually pull it from the storage unit, because sometimes, you know, stuff happens. People change their mind. They don't want it anymore. It's a different day. they don't want to spend the money. They thought it'd be cheaper, more expensive. Maybe the shipping was too much. You never know like why someone doesn't want anything. That's not a big deal. It's just that's why I've learned to make sure the sale goes through before I take it home. That was a lesson learned for me. All right. So, oh yeah, and someone ended up picking one of these. Now I knew that they were going to sell. It wasn't a big deal that someone didn't want to do the combo order anymore. Like they were going to sell eventually. They're pretty cool. Next up is going to be 2 Dungeons and Dragons maps. They are from the Dungeon Magazine, which I believe was by TSR, which did the original Dungeons and Dragons stuff. Sasserine, this really cool village map, really detailed. It is a little crinkly, not bad for like a magazine insert. All of the little towns and little villages you can go to. I don't know if these go with the exact like campaign. This is Scuttlecore right here. I just like looking at maps and stuff. I'm really bad at reading maps and like directions in real life as well, but I just enjoy visually looking at them. Like I don't know, I just enjoy it. So I don't know what someone's going to use these for. They are magazine inserts. Maybe they're just completing their magazine, or they just like looking at them like I do, or they're going to use them for a D&D campaign or another fantasy campaign, if not D&D. $39.98 for that combo order. All right, next up is going to be a record. I feel like I sound like a broken record, but we don't know anything about records. Got a bunch of these free ones. They were going to go into the garbage. This is the string alongs, right? I did the pun. I can't keep it together. The string alongs record right here. Don't know anything about this one, but someone's going to appreciate it. $7.99. That's about where most of them go for. Probably sold like 50, 60. I never actually like, it's just in my mind how many of these I sold at this point, but we got like 200, maybe a little bit more. Listed them all, and they've been slowly selling for around that price point. All right, next up is going to be this by Plastic Craft Games. This is another miniature wargaming tabletop accessory. Really cool. You got this like Kuruwa with gate right here. So this is gonna be like you're gonna make like a gate right there, kind of like a foreign type of Japanese or something style thing. So if you're doing like a samurai game or something like that, I'm not too sure about like the Asian tabletop gaming. I don't get too much of that kind of stuff, but this is like another piece of terrain. They can also use it for role playing, where you just have like, they set up miniature loadouts and stuff for the role playing as well. This ended up going for $23.99. Got a bunch of these at auction. I think it was last year. I think it was like $22 for like 14 different packets. I only have like 4 or 5 left, but yeah, that one's pretty cool. I think it's just like well done. Oh, you also get to craft it. It's like a fun little craft for someone. I don't know if it's like pre-painted or not. Maybe they have to, I think they're gonna have to paint it themselves, which is also extra cool. A lot of people like doing that. All right, next up is this board game. Annetta taught me about this. Shut the Box. Never heard of it when I was growing up. Never knew anyone that had it. I eventually ran into it when I was in like my mid 25 or something when I first heard about it. This is a 4-player one. Annetta told me a lot of people at offices like to play this game. You end up rolling 2 dice and you have a bunch of these numbers, and you're trying to, I think you can add or subtract both of the numbers or pick in an individual number, and that's the number you flick down. Then it's the next person's turn. And then once you flick down all your numbers, you get to literally have you shut the box and then you win the game, and that's it. Really simple type of game. This one's cool because it's 4 players. I think normally it's 2 players, but yeah, this ended up going for $28. So yeah, anytime I see Shut the Box, this is something I would have not known about before. The fact that like this one sold for $28 plus shipping, they paid a lot of shipping. That's a pretty heavy price. So I don't know, it's just a cool one. I like dice, so I'm kind of sad I didn't know about that one as a kid or growing up. And it just, sometimes you just kind of miss an item, like you didn't run into it when you're going along in life, and then you run into it and you're like, oh, I would have loved that as a kid. All right, it's an easy one to teach to anyone, honestly. It just roll the dice, you're also learning a little bit of math there, what's adding, subtracting the dice. I don't know if you can multiply them or divide them. I don't think so, but all right, maybe that's they have a fancy version. Someone already made it. Next up is going to be Munchkin. There's going to be 4 of these promo cards. These are going to be, I think, all door cards. These ones are door cards and treasure cards. Munchkin's like this fantasy satirical game where you have a character, you're trying to get to level 10. When you get to level 10, you win. You end up knocking down a door, and then there's usually like I think there's always like an enemy to fight, and then the treasures are like things you earn. So this is like Brandy treasure, Christopher Robin. This has Robin Hoots. You can there's all the puns right here. And this one's a curse, Angry Dinos. You can like curse other players so they like lose levels and stuff. People like this game a lot. This ended up going for $42.27 for 4 of these. I have a bunch of these, so I already relisted each of them. So that's fantastic. People love the Munchkin game. It's a kind of like a, what do I want to say about it? yeah, just a lot of people like the game, even though it's like one board game. There's a ton of expansions. There's a ton of different like ways to play it and stuff. It's kind of crazy. Next, it's very very simple game too in general compared to like other board games and card games. Maybe that's why it's popular. Next up, remember I got a bunch of these police cars right here, die-cast ones. I just like to make different sets that look nice, either by the color palette or by like the state. These are all either Chicago or Illinois police state cars right here. These end up going for $17. I was in talks with this person. They wanted to get some other ones, but there was a color difference in one of the other ones. They basically I said, okay, I'll do the work to take apart some other lots to make a new lot to sell you some more. We were going back and forth in messages, but at one point they said they wanted the green one in the lots, and I'm like, oh, maybe my pictures or lighting wasn't good. I was like, that's a gold one. I want to make sure that like that's what you want. And I've been waiting for their response since, so haven't been able to finish that combined order. I want to be extra careful. It's probably okay, 99%. I'm sure if I just took the gold one with the other two white ones that they want, that it would have been fine. But I really want to make sure these days. I have a return coming because it was my fault about a board game. So like I want to be extra careful. It really feels like your algorithm gets hit when you make a mistake. Makes sense. And then you have to wait for time and you have to basically be a good boy and keep doing good sales, getting good feedback. And the automatic feedback started. So I thought that was interesting. All right, I got on a ramble. This right here is going to be 2. You probably can't see it. These are going to be Necron old school like little rods or something for the guns. When I bought this Necron army from the person, they were trying to explain it to me where the little guns don't have this green little rod anymore. So these end up going for $9.59. These are just the old school vintage pieces. I'm sure there's people out there that love like the original Necron green goo rods that you get to attach to the guns rather than what they have now. I forgot what they have now. Next up is going to be this Resident Evil deck building game promo right here. This is going to be Albert Wesker. He's a foil one. There's 3 different promos. This is just one of the 3. This is going to be like an additional rival for the allies to fight. This ended up going for $8. I have more of these. It's replenishable for me, so I went ahead and relisted it. People really like that one. I think I might be like the only one that has those, or maybe cheap enough. I think other people probably have like a way higher price. I do when I have a replenishable as a couple of them sell. I do check the price and I'm like, no, I'm still good with this price because like this is still pretty good to constantly get like 8, 10, 12, 14 sometimes my asking price. I think I have it at 16 for my asking price. It's pretty good for something like if I sold them all, that's like a couple $100, and I've been selling them for different prices, and yeah, mine keeps selling, so that seems fine. Next up is, and then there's other items I like to hold off. I'll see other people have them cheap, and then I'll have the slightly higher price. Are going to be these 8 custom sci-fi orangish with blue ships. I don't think these are Warhammer knockoffs. I was pretty sure and careful when I was listing them to make sure. Obviously, when I used like a reverse image thing, it kept trying to tell me that these were Warhammer things. I can tell it's 3D printed. It has kind of like the lines when like the 3D print like goo kind of goes over. I don't know. I just understand some of the stuff when I can't like shot call every 3D printed item, but this one I could just tell because it has like those like lines there. These are painted, pretty well done. I think they're pretty cool. I don't like sci-fi, but these ones I looked at and they kind of look like a combination of like Protoss and Zerg from StarCraft as a spaceship right here. Going to repeat buyer for $15. I completely forgot where I got these from, but yeah, I have to be careful with the custom stuff. You don't want to sell like knockoffs and stuff like that. So, all right, 15 for that. Next up is going to be FASA. I almost didn't list them because like the reverse image really wanted to say that they were Warhammer, but I couldn't find anything. And I think I asked a Warhammer fan. They don't know everything, but they were like, no, I don't know what those are. This is Battletech miniature game, which I wasn't aware of the miniature game. These are different maps. This one right here says map 1. I got a bunch of these, like 6 or 7 of the different maps with the different labels here. And it has kind of, it's almost like a gridded map, but instead of like the square lines here, they have like asterisk little stars here. Maybe to make the map look a little cleaner. Sometimes I do think like, sorry, it's still fine. It just got all floppy. Sometimes when I'm playing like tactics games, the lines are kind of overwhelming and obnoxious for the aesthetics of like looking at it. But yeah, this ended up going for $23.99 to repeat buyer. My Battletech stuff's been going to like 3, 4, or 5 different people constantly, so they're keeping an eye out on the shop, which is great to have someone follow the shop and keep an eye out on stuff that they want. All right, we're almost done, everyone. This is going to be a PC game, codenamed Panzer's Cold War. Another one of these military tactical games. This one looks a little bit more like action oriented, but it still looks like an RTS, a real time strategy game where you build up a base and you're kind of doing everything. You're like clicking your mouse in real time. So it's not like I take a turn and you take a turn. This is we're taking our turns at the same time until someone defeats the other person. So it's kind of like really fast paced. This ended up going for $13.60. Also, probably has a campaign mode, so you get to play like single player to learn about everything. Those games are a lot of fun, just like all the old PC games. I just don't have time to do that stuff anymore. All right, last up is going to be this Winnie the Pooh. People are thinking about Halloween. It's coming up soon. We got Pooh, Tigger, and Piglet right here in the different Halloween costumes, stuffed animal plushie, still sealed. This is from like the late 90s. Even though it's from the late 90s, this is $8.73. And I'll say here in the channel, like, I feel like Disney people or collectors are kind of more on the cheap end. Anytime we get Disney stuff, it just doesn't sell for a lot. This thing's like more than 25 years old. It looks good to me. I'm not like a Winnie the Pooh fan, but yeah, only $8.73 for it. I think the highest Disney item we've sold was probably like $20. And we've gotten like some really good looking pieces and stuff before when we used to do like yard sales and thrift stores. And at some point we just kind of dropped, like when we would see a Disney thing, we would just kind of be like, that's probably not worth a lot, even though it looks like it should be. Maybe it's more of the way vintage stuff. Maybe it's stuff from like Disneyland, Disney World, maybe like those pins and stuff. I know there's like a whole bunch of stuff with Disney, but yeah, in general, all the like stuff we've grabbed is, it's never too much, but someone's going to appreciate that. Like I said, they look good. They look really good. I don't like plushies. I don't like Winnie the Pooh, or I don't dislike them. I just like, it's not my thing. And yeah, someone's going to appreciate that. So it feels good there. All right. Even though I'm not into something, doesn't mean that someone else is not. And that's the important thing. I think a lot of people sell stuff where it's only stuff that they think that they like, and they don't realize that there's all of these different worlds out there. Like I'm in my own like crazy world with all like the board games and stuff, and Netta likes a lot of video games. She also likes the board games. There's people that collect cars, RPGs. There's people that collect maps, DVDs, plushies, all this kind of stuff. So yeah, I remember when I first started eBay, I just thought it was the stuff that I would think about. I mean, there's a lot. I like the realm of this stuff, like the tabletop stuff, but like you saw us sell like other stuff, like the DVDs and yeah, just records and whatever. Like just people love collecting stuff. All right, enough rambling. This is a long one. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to help support us, take a look at our links down below. Have a good one.